All right, ready to dive in. We've got a great topic lined up today, all about the digital revolution.
Yeah, tons of requests for this one. Folks are really interested in how we got to where we are.
Especially, and our listeners, they always want the behind the scenes stories.
The unsung heroes, the collaborations that don't always make the headlines, right?
Exactly. And I think it's perfect because it's not just about the technology, it's about the people.
The creativity, the problem solving, the drive to make something new, all those timeless principles.
I love that, those timeless principles. So, are you ready to take it back to the beginning?
Let's do it. Where else but with Ada Lovelace?
Ada Lovelace, daughter of Lord Byron, poet turned tech visionary. Okay, that's a good start already.
Talk about a unique background. Her father, famous romantic poet, but kind of a math phobe.
Really? Lord Byron, the romantic poet, didn't like math.
He much preferred the world of emotions and imagination. He even joked about wanting to turn like 2 and 2 into 5.
I guess it's pretty anti-math.
It is. But Ada's mother, Annabella, she was a math whiz.
So Ada was exposed to both sides of the coin, the artistic A&D, the logical.
And that really shaped her thinking, especially when she started working with Charles Babbage.
Charles Babbage, the inventor of the analytical engine, right? That was a pretty big
So
deal.
huge deal. He was obsessed with building this machine that could do complex calculations. But Ada, she saw something more.
She saw beyond the numbers, didn't she?
Yeah, she realized that the engine could work with symbols and concepts, not just numbers.
So she was thinking about the potential of computers way before anyone else.
Way ahead of her time. And one of her key insights was that machines, no matter how complex, can't truly originate anything.
That's so profound. They're just following instructions, right?
Exactly. Which is a concept that's still relevant today, with all the talk about AI.
Absolutely. She was grappling with these ideas back in the 19th century.
Mm.
But let's fast forward a bit.
Okay, where to?
I'm thinking about those early digital machines. Herman Hollerith and his punch card machines come to mind.
Ah, Hollerith. His machines revolutionized data processing, especially with the 1890 U.S. Census.
That was a huge undertaking, right? Trying to count all those people.
It was. The previous census took, get this, 7 years to process manually.
7 years. I can't even imagine.
But Hollerith's punch card system, it just blew everything out of the water, cut the processing time down drastically.
And that paved the way for the rise of IBM, right?
It did. IBM was all about those early computing machines, but even they had their limitations.
They were bulky, expensive, and not exactly user-friendly.
Right. But they were a stepping stone to something bigger, something that would really ignite the digital revolution.
Okay, I'm intrigued. What was it? Something bigger?
Well, for that, we need to head over to Bell Labs, the birthplace of some truly groundbreaking innovations.
Bell Labs. Now we're talking. A legendary hub of scientific and technological advancements.
Exactly. They had this unique environment, where brilliant minds from all these different fields collided.
It sounds like a melting pot of creativity.
It was. You had theorists and engineers working side by side, bouncing ideas off each other, constantly pushing the boundaries.
Okay, give me some examples. What kind of magic was happening at Bell Labs?
Well, let's start with Claude Shannon. His master's thesis was all about using circuits for Boolean algebra.
Boolean algebra. That sounds a little, technical.
It is, but bear with me. Basically, he showed how circuits could be used to represent logical statements. True or false, yes or no, that kind of thing.
So he connected abstract logic with the physical world of circuits.
Exactly, and that was huge. It laid the foundation for digital logic, which is the basis of all modern computers.
Wow, so a seemingly abstract concept became the cornerstone of a technological revolution.
That's the beauty of it, right? And what's fascinating is that around the same time, another Bell Labs engineer, George Stibitz, was actually putting Shannon's ideas into practice.
By building what?
An electric circuit calculator.
So they were working in parallel, these two brilliant minds, each contributing to this larger puzzle.
It's amazing, isn't it? The convergence of ideas, the collaborative spirit, it's all there at Bell Labs.
A true testament to the power of collaboration. But while all this was happening at Bell Labs, there was another innovator working on something similar, but completely independently.
Oh, you mean John Atanasoff?
Yeah, Atanasoff. He was on his own quest to build an electronic computer, but he wasn't at Bell Labs.
Nope, he was out in Iowa working on a machine that used vacuum tubes and a binary system.
A binary system meaning?
Using just 2 digits, 0 and 1, to represent data.
Which is how computers still work today, right?
Right. Atanasoff was way ahead of the curve. But here's the thing.
What? Don't tell me he didn't succeed.
He came really close, but his machine ended up, well, kind of forgotten in a basement.
Oh, no. That's heartbreaking. All that work, all that potential, just sitting there gathering dust.
It's a cautionary tale, right? Brilliant ideas can get lost or overlooked, only to be rediscovered later.
I guess that's part of the process too, right? The setbacks, the detours, the unexpected turns.
Exactly. But luckily, Atanesov's work didn't completely disappear. Another computer scientist, John Mauchly, learned about his machine and was hugely inspired.
Mauchly, wasn't he involved with ENIAC?
He was, and Atanesov's work directly influenced his thinking.
ENIAC, that was a major milestone, the first fully electronic general-purpose computer, right?
It was, and it was a collaborative effort. Mauchly teamed up with J. Presper Eckert to build this massive machine.
I've seen pictures. It took up an entire room.
It did, and it was driven by the urgency of World War II. They needed to calculate ballistic trajectories quickly, and ENIAC was the answer.
Wow, so wartime necessity really fueled this innovation.
It did, and when ENIAC was unveiled to the public, it was a sensation.
I can imagine. A giant machine with flashing lights promising to change the world.
People saw it as a harbinger of better living, which is interesting because it highlights the complex relationship between technology and society.
It's that double-edged sword. Technology can be used for good or for ill, and it's up to us to decide how it shapes our lives.
Exactly. But there was another side to the ENIAC story, a less glamorous one, full of patent disputes.
Ah, the legal battles. A reminder that innovation isn't always smooth sailing.
Right. There's competition, intellectual property rights, and sometimes even ethical dilemmas.
It's messy, but I guess that's part of what makes it so fascinating.
It is. But for all the controversy, ENIAC was a landmark achievement. It marked a turning point in the history of computing.
And speaking of turning points, we can't forget about the contributions of the women programmers who were so essential to ENIAC's success.
Absolutely. They were the unsung heroes, often overlooked, but their work was vital.
Like Grace Hopper, for example.
Grace Hopper, a true pioneer in software development. She worked on the MarkI computer and was instrumental in developing the first compiler.
A compiler, remind me what that is again.
It's like a translator. Imagine trying to speak to a computer in its own language, binary code.
Oh, right. That would be incredibly difficult.
Exactly. A compiler takes human-readable instructions and turns them into the machine kind that computers understand.
So she was making it possible for humans to communicate with computers in a more understandable way.
Exactly. Her work laid the foundation for modern programming languages, making software development more accessible and efficient.
So we've got Ada Lovelace thinking about the limits of machines, Claude Shannon connecting logic with circuits, Atanesov pushing the boundaries of computing, and Grace Hopper making it easier for humans to talk to computers. We're starting to see the building blocks of the digital revolution fall into place.
We are, but there's one more key figure we need to talk about, a true giant in the field. John von Neumann.
Ah, von Neumann. Now there's a name that's synonymous with brilliance.
He was a polymath, involved in so many different fields, mathematics, physics, computer science, you name it.
But in terms of the digital revolution, what was his biggest contribution?
His work on stored program computer architecture.
Break that down for me. What does that even mean?
Before von Neumann, computers were like giant calculators. They had to be physically rewired for each new task.
Oh, wow. That sounds incredibly inefficient.
It was. But von Neumann had this brilliant insight. Both data and instructions could be stored in the computer's memory.
So you could easily switch between different programs without having to rewire the whole machine.
Exactly. It's like the blueprint for the computers we use today.
That's incredible. So he essentially created the foundation for modern computing.
He did. And what's even more remarkable is that he was a strong advocate for open collaboration.
He believed in sharing ideas freely.
He did. He thought it would accelerate progress and lead to better outcomes for everyone.
What a great philosophy. So from Ada Lovelace to von Neumann, we're seeing these recurring themes emerge. The importance of looking beyond the obvious, the power of collaboration, and the ripple effect of groundbreaking ideas.
It's like building a pyramid, each layer building on the one before it.
But what we've seen so far is really just the foundation. Now we're about to enter a new era where computers go from being these massive machines in research labs to something personal, something people can have in their own homes.
The rise of the personal computer.
Exactly. That's where things really start to get interesting.
And that's where we'll pick up in the next part of our deep dive.
Oh, I can't wait. This is just the beginning, folks. Stay tuned for more.
Welcome back. Ready for more of the digital revolution?
I am. We left off with computers becoming more, well, personal.
Exactly. And that's where the Homebrew Computer Club comes in.
The Homebrew Computer Club, what was that all about?
This was in the mid-70s, a group of tech enthusiasts in Silicon Valley.
Silicon Valley, the heart of it all. So what were they doing, these homebrew folks?
They were all about building and experimenting with their own computers.
So not like the big corporate labs we talked about earlier.
Nope. This was a grassroots movement, a bunch of passionate hobbyists, tinkering in garages, sharing ideas.
It sounds like the perfect breeding ground for innovation.
It was. And one of the key figures who emerged from this group was Steve Wozniak.
Wozniak, of Apple fame.
The one and only. He was a brilliant engineer with a passion for building user-friendly computers.
So he was thinking about the people who would actually be using the technology.
He was. He wanted computers to be accessible, affordable, and fun to use. He didn't see them as these cold, complex machines.
He saw their potential to empower people, to make their lives easier and more enjoyable.
Exactly. And that's a recurring theme we see throughout the digital revolution, this drive to make technology more human-centered.
Wozniak, he wasn't alone in this endeavor, was he?
Nope. He had a partner in crime, Steve Jobs.
Ah, Steve Jobs, the marketing mastermind behind Apple. What a duo.
They were a force to be reckoned with, Wozniak with the technical brilliance and Jobs with the vision and marketing savvy.
It sounds like the classic story of collaboration where different strengths complement each other.
It was. And their creation, the Apple II, launched in 1977, it was a game changer.
The Apple II, what made it so revolutionary?
Well, for one thing, it was user-friendly. It had a sleek design, it was marketed as an appliance, something anyone could use.
So they were taking this complex technology and making it approachable for the everyday person.
Exactly. Jobs understood that to make personal computers mainstream, they had to be seen as something that would enhance your life, not complicate it.
It's like they were demystifying technology, making it less intimidating and more inviting.
And the success of the Apple II proved that there was a huge market for personal computers. It really ignited the PC revolution.
And that caught the attention of some of the bigger players, right? Like IBM.
Oh, yeah. IBM was a giant. In the computing world, they couldn't ignore this personal computer trend.
So what did they do?
In 1981, they launched their own personal computer, the IBM PC.
The IBM PC, that was a big deal. How did they approach it?
Well, they knew they needed to move quickly, and they were willing to partner with other companies.
Smart move. So who did they team up with?
For the operating system, they turned to a relatively young and unknown company called Microsoft.
Microsoft. I mean, I know they're huge now, but back then.
Back then, they weren't the software behemoth they are today. They were actually working on a language called BASIC.
BASIC, like the programming language.
Yeah. But when IBM came knocking, they saw an opportunity they couldn't pass up.
It's funny how these seemingly small decisions can have such a huge impact on the course of history.
It is. And there's a great story about how Microsoft actually ended up with the contract for the IBM PC operating system.
Okay, I'm all ears.
So the story goes that IBM initially approached a guy named Gary Kildall, who had developed a popular operating system called CP/M.
CP/M? Never heard of it.
Well, it was big back then, but when IBM came calling, Kildall was, well, let's just say he wasn't exactly eager to make a deal.
Oh no, did he miss his chance?
Pretty much. Microsoft saw the opportunity and swooped in. They licensed an operating system called 86DOS and adapted it for the IBM PC.
And that became MS-DOS,
Yeah.
right? The operating system that would power millions of IBM PCs.
It did. And that was a turning point for Microsoft. They rode the wave of the IBM PC's success and became the dominant force in the software industry.
So they went from this small company working on BASIC to the kings of software, all thanks to a well-timed opportunity.
It's amazing how things can change so quickly in the tech world, isn't it?
It is. But while Microsoft was building its empire on proprietary software, there was another movement brewing, one that championed a completely different approach.
You're talking about the free and open source software movement.
Exactly. Tell me more about that. It sounds pretty radical for the time.
It was. This movement believed that software should be freely shared, modified, and distributed.
So the opposite of proprietary software, where companies tightly control their code.
Exactly. It was all about collaboration, community, and the free flow of information.
I love that. Who were some of the key figures in this movement?
Well, one name that stands out is Richard Stallman.
Stallman, what was his story?
He was a brilliant programmer, a true idealist, and he was passionate about software freedom. He believed that software shouldn't be locked away behind corporate walls.
You want it to be accessible to everyone, right?
He did. He founded the GNU project with the goal of creating a free and open source operating system.
So, like a free alternative to something like MS-DOS.
Exactly. It was a bold vision, and it challenged the established norms of the software industry.
I bet it did. So how did it go? Did the GNU project succeed?
It did, in a way. They created many of the core components of a free operating system, but they were still missing a key piece. The kernel?
The kernel, what's that?
It's basically the heart of the operating system, the part that manages the system's resources.
So they had all these pieces, but they were missing the glue that held it all together.
Right. But then, in 1991, a young computer science student in Finland named Linus Torvalds stepped onto the scene.
Linus Torvalds, I know that name. He created Linux,
Yes,
right?
he did. And it was a game changer for the free and open source software movement.
What was so special about Linux?
Well, for one thing, it was a complete operating system, including the kernel that the GNU project had been missing.
Ah, so it completed the puzzle.
Yeah.
But how did he create it? Was he working with a big team of programmers?
Not at all. He started working on Linux as a personal project, and then he shared the source code online and invited others to contribute.
So it was a collaborative effort, a global community of programmers working together to build this free operating system.
It was. And its success proved that high-quality software could be created outside the traditional corporate structures.
It's a testament to the power of open collaboration and the shared passion of a global community.
Absolutely. And Linux really disrupted the software landscape, offering a viable alternative to proprietary operating systems like Windows.
It's amazing how this grassroots effort, driven by ideals and a shared vision, could challenge the giants of the industry.
It is, and the free and open source software movement continues to thrive today, powering everything from web servers to smartphones to supercomputers.
It's a powerful reminder that innovation can come from anywhere, and that collaboration can achieve incredible things.
Exactly. But while the software revolution was unfolding, there was another transformative force emerging, one that would connect the world in ways we never thought possible: the internet.
Ah, the internet, the network of networks, the information superhighway, the thing that's probably keeping you entertained right now.
You got it. We talked earlier about the early visionaries who laid the groundwork for the internet, but now we're about to see it really take off.
I'm ready for liftoff. Where do we begin?
Well, remember Tim Berners-Lee and his invention of the World Wide Web?
Of course. He gave us the ability to navigate the vast ocean of information on the internet.
Exactly. But the early web was mostly a read-only experience, you know? You could access information, but creating and sharing your own content was still pretty technical.
So it wasn't exactly a two-way street.
Right. But that would soon change with the emergence of blogging.
Blogging. Ah, yes, the good old days of the internet, when people actually wrote things instead of just posting pictures of their food.
Haha, well, there was a certain charm to those early days. It was a new form of online self-expression.
So who were some of the pioneers of this blogging thing?
Justin Hall is often considered the godfather of blogging. He started his personal website back in 1994.
Wow, 1994. That's ancient history in internet years. What did he write about?
He shared his thoughts, experiences, links to things he found interesting. It was like a public diary, a precursor to the blogs we know today.
So he was kind of like a one-man media outlet, sharing his own unique perspective with the world.
He was. And his work inspired others to embrace the web as a platform for personal storytelling and sharing their ideas.
And then came the blogging platforms that made it even easier for people to create their own blogs.
Exactly. Platforms like Blogger, founded by Evan Williams and Meg Hurahan, simplified the technical aspects, making it accessible to a much wider audience.
So suddenly, anyone with an internet connection could become a publisher.
It was a democratization of media, a shift in power from traditional gatekeepers to individuals.
That's amazing. So the internet was not only connecting people, but it was also giving them a voice, a platform to share their stories and perspectives.
It was. And blogging had a profound impact on the way news was reported and disseminated. It offered an alternative to mainstream media, providing on-the-ground accounts and diverse viewpoints.
Citizen journalism was born. It's incredible how this technology, which started as a way for researchers to share information, ended up disrupting traditional power structures and empowering individuals.
It's a testament to the unpredictable nature of innovation and the enduring human desire to connect and share.
It is.
Yeah.
But we're not done yet, are we? There's another chapter in this digital revolution that's just waiting to be explored.
You're right. We've come a long way, from punch cards to personal computers to the interconnected world of the internet. But the journey doesn't end there.
Where do we go from here?
To the world of social media. That's our next stop.
Social media. Now, that's a topic that's sure to spark some interesting conversations.
It is. Get ready for a deep dive into the platforms that have reshaped how we communicate, consume information, and connect with each other.
Sounds fascinating. I can't wait. And we're back for the final part of our digital revolution deep dive. It's been quite a journey, hasn't it?
It has. From Ada Lovelace's early visions to the personal computer revolution and the rise of the internet, we've seen so much innovation.
And as we move into the 21st century, things really start to accelerate, right?
Absolutely. We're about to enter the era of social media, a landscape that's still evolving as we speak.
It's amazing to think that just a few decades ago, social media as we know it didn't even exist.
It's true. But even before Facebook and Twitter took over the world, there were these early online communities.
Oh yeah, like those bulletin board systems, the BBS?
Exactly. Think back to the days of dial-up modems. You'd connect to these BBSs and chat with other people, share files, that kind of thing.
It was a very early form of social networking, wasn't it?
It was a way for people with shared interests to connect, even if they were miles apart.
I guess it's kind of hard to imagine now with instant messaging and video calls and all that.
It was a different world. But those early online communities laid the groundwork for what would come later.
And then with the rise of the web, those online communities became even more sophisticated, right?
They did. One example is The Well, an online community that started in 1985.
The Well. I've heard of that. Wasn't it a haven for writers and intellectuals?
It was. A lot of interesting discussions happening there. People sharing ideas, debating, collaborating.
It's fascinating to see how these early online spaces were fostering a sense of community and shared purpose, even before social media as we know it came along.
It is. And one of the key figures in the Whale community was Stuart Brand, the editor of the Whole Earth Catalog.
Oh, I know the Whole Earth Catalog. It was like a Bible for the counterculture movement.
It was. And Brand, he had this interesting idea for an online conferencing system called Picospan.
Picospan, what was that all about?
It was this vision of a virtual space where people could come together, share ideas, and work on projects collectively.
So kind of like a precursor to the collaborative platforms we use today, like Google Docs and Slack.
Exactly. It's amazing how these ideas were already percolating back then, even though the technology wasn't quite there yet.
But what about those early social networking sites, the ones that came before Facebook and Twitter? What were they like?
Well, one of the first to gain widespread popularity was Friendster, which launched in 2002.
Friendster. I vaguely remember that name. What happened to it?
It faced a classic challenge of rapid growth. It struggled to keep up with the influx of users, and it lacked some of the features that would later become standard on social networking sites.
Ah, so it couldn't quite keep up with the pace of innovation.
Right. But it paved the way for MySpace, which launched in 2003.
MySpace. Now, that's a name that brings back memories. I remember spending hours customizing my profile, adding music, changing the background. It was like a digital playground.
It was. MySpace really tapped into this desire for self-expression and connection online, especially among teenagers and young adults.
It was all about creating your own digital identity, finding your tribe, connecting with like-minded people.
And its focus on music and entertainment really resonated with a younger audience.
It was a cultural phenomenon. But then, Facebook arrived on the scene and everything changed, didn't it?
It did. Facebook launched in 2004, initially targeting college students, but it quickly spread beyond those walls.
What made Facebook so successful?
Well, for one thing, it had a clean, user-friendly interface. It was easy to use. It felt more grown-up than MySpace.
And the newsfeed. That was a brilliant innovation, wasn't it?
It was. The newsfeed created this constantly updating stream of information about your friends' activities. It made Facebook incredibly engaging.
And as Facebook grew, it strategically acquired other platforms like Instagram and WhatsApp.
Yeah, it became this social media behemoth connecting billions of people worldwide.
It's hard to overstate its impact on the way we communicate, consume news, even the way we think about the world.
It's true. But with that power comes a lot of responsibility. And Facebook has faced its share of controversies over issues like privacy, data security, and the spread of misinformation.
It's a complex issue, and it's something we all need to be aware of as we navigate this digital landscape.
Absolutely. And alongside Facebook's rise, we saw the emergence of other social media giants, each with its own unique flavor.
Like Twitter. It's all about those short, bite-sized messages, perfect for real-time news and public discourse.
Twitter launched in 2006 and quickly became a platform for breaking news, political commentary, social activism, you name it.
It's a fascinating space to observe the dynamics of public opinion, how ideas spread, how conversations unfold in real time.
And then there's YouTube, the video sharing giant that revolutionized how we consume and share video content.
YouTube, I can't even imagine life without it now. Music videos, tutorials, documentaries, it's all there.
It's become a vast library of human experience, and it's empowered individuals to share their creativity and perspectives with the world.
And we can't forget about Instagram, the photo sharing platform that's become a powerhouse for visual storytelling.
Instagram launched in 2010 and quickly gained popularity for its focus on aesthetics and visual communication.
It's a platform for personal expression, influencer marketing, even social activism.
It's amazing how social media has become so integral to our lives, isn't it?
It really is. It's a far cry from those early days of dial-up BBSs and text-based online communities.
It's a testament to the transformative power of the digital revolution, how technology has reshaped the way we connect, communicate, and share information.
But as with any powerful tool, it's important to use it wisely. We need to be critical consumers of information, mindful of our privacy, and aware of the potential for manipulation and exploitation.
You're absolutely right. The digital revolution is an ongoing process, and we're all participants in shaping its future.
It's up to us to ensure that technology serves humanity and helps us create a more informed, connected, and equitable world.
Well said. It's been an incredible journey, exploring the key innovations and collaborations that have brought us to where we are today.
We've seen the power of human ingenuity, the importance of collaboration, and the unpredictable ways in which technology can shape our lives.
And as we move forward, it's essential to remember the lessons we've learned along the way, the importance of critical thinking, ethical considerations, and a human-centered approach to innovation.
That's a great point. The digital revolution is far from over, and it's up to all of us to shape its trajectory.
So let's keep exploring, keep questioning, keep pushing the boundaries, and let's use these powerful tools to create a better future for everyone.
That's a perfect note to end on. Thanks for joining us on this deep dive into the digital revolution. We'll see you next time for another exploration into the world of knowledge.